guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today is the 19th of December, the 19th day of our advent calendar, and it is also Jennifer Beals' birthday. So happy birthday, Jennifer Beals. And also one of the Jennifer Beals fan accounts, it's on Twitter, it's at @xjenniferbeals. They put together a video for, like, I submitted a video and then loads of other fans, and they cut together this really nice, I think it's about 5.5 minutes, and it's just like a birthday tribute to Jennifer Beals. It's really good and it was a really sweet idea. So I've retweeted it. If you go on my social media, you should be able to find it, or just even looking for @Jennifer Beals. And they also have a YouTube channel that is at The Lost Feelings, but instead of the S at the end of feelings, it's a Z. So check them out over there too. Today, of course, we are here to review Season 5, Episode 2, but just before we get started, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you're notified every time I post a new video, including the last couple of days of the Advent Calendar Christmas special, and I will be dropping Season 5, Episode 4 on Christmas Day. And I also will be revealing who won the L Word goodie bag, so be in for that draw. Just make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, like any one of my Advent Calendar Christmas special videos, and comment down below any questions, thoughts, feelings that you have. Just pop them down in any of the comment section. At the end of the video, I will also talk about the upcoming live and then the week after live, so make sure you stick around for that. But without further ado, let's get started on Season 5, Episode 2, Look Out, Here They Come. I always thought that title must have been, so I always think look out, here they come, and then I in my head add the lesbians. I don't know why, but before I start with each character, I just wanted to start with the cold open, because the Season 5 cold opens are brilliant, and the scene where the Aaron, Tina's boss, is going through like, I want more, like, sleeping together, more, and he's making like the finger gesture like scissors. It's like, oh my god. But then they have Bette and Shane hooking up, and we flash and see that, and then we have Tina and Shane hooking up, and then Bette and Helena, and it's just hysterical. Like, obviously Tina and Jenny both at the same time are like, there's no way. Just a great scene. So hysterical. So then we are on to Jenny, who is in full-blown diva mania mode, and in this episode she also meets Adele for the first time, who is in the planet, and she's holding Jenny's book so like you can see the entire front cover. And Kit, obviously Max sees it, introduces Kit and Max to Adele, and then Adele from that point on basically takes on the unofficial role of Jenny's assistant, and then she takes on the official role. And as we know, over the course of the next season, Adele takes this extreme turn, and you wonder, was that her game all along? I mean, she started definitely the kind of string pulling very, very early on, but I always wondered, did she start that once she kind of got in very close to Jenny and saw, ooh, like, I could really manipulate and get things going here? Or was it from the very beginning and she was dressed that way and gave that impression for the beginning of her, master villain plan? But one thing I always just, it's a nice little nod, is when Adele says what school she went to, University of Central Florida, and it wasn't a very, well-known school then, but it's the biggest university in Florida now, and it was really close to where I used to live, so I always get a kick out of that. Kit doesn't have too much going on in this episode apart from facilitating the meeting between Max, Adele, and Jenny. And Shane in this episode has a lot going on because she is slowly sleeping her way through all the bridesmaids and the mother of the bride So, I mean, obviously it's a tad unrealistic, but it does, go somewhere in the next few episodes where you have Shane going through that whole she's not sleeping with anyone mantra. And then we also, she's doing the hair of like the bridal party because it's the guy, William, who's financing the movie. It's his daughter's wedding, and all the bridesmaids and everything love how Shane's done their hair. So in the end, Jenny asks William, can Shane work on the movie? And William says yes, and Shane works on the movie. That also is a tad unrealistic, because a financer of a wedding isn't going to be someone who's like hiring the hair people, and someone like, even Tina, like as a producer, wouldn't. That would be, a bit of a different job for someone else. Max also doesn't really have a storyline. Just Kit and Max get this meeting with Adele. That's really the only thing that they have going on, although Max and Tom finally meet in this episode, and Tom, when he comes back to sit with Bette and Jodie, he's saying, oh, like I saw this really cute boy. And then we have our transphobic scene of the episode, and once again, you know what I'm gonna plug. Go and watch Disclosure on Netflix if you haven't seen it, because it explains things far better than I could. So check that out. Helena, they move her prison story along a little bit. We get to know Dusty a little bit more, and Helena, gets herself into a bit of trouble, and Dusty sticks up for her and says no, like, leave her alone, she's with me. And we do have it revealed that Dusty is not in fact in prison for murder. She is in there for tax fraud, which just, I think, is hilarious. I always look at this episode as kind of a filler episode. Like, I always think of it as the wedding episode in my head, because we had the premiere where, we're cleaning everything up from season 4, whittling the cast down to the main people, but this episode really, it sets up the next lot of storylines, and that is made even more clear with Alice and Tasha and Bette and Tina, because Tasha reveals, she is being investigated for homosexual conduct, and as everyone knows, when this episode aired, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was still around, so it was an extremely big deal. And as the lawyer tells Tasha, it's usually extremely hard to get these cases overturned because they normally always end up being true. So people would be dishonorably or honorably discharged due to those things, and their whole careers are destroyed. And I remember around when this episode was airing, there was a lot of articles about how there was a huge amount of people that were discharged from the armed forces under Don't Ask, Don't Tell that were language specialists, and they were missing all these people that spoke like Arabic and Farsi and things, because they were most of the gay people that were kicked out. So I just, Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I mean, I really think it was great that they included this in the L Word, because it was such a terrible thing that anyone who wanted to serve their country had to go through, hiding who they really are. And as we saw, like at the dinner scene with Bette and Jodie and Alice and Tasha, Tasha, even when she's going out all the time at the racetrack, she would say to Alice, I can't even hold your hand or anything, because you just never know who's around or who's watching or anything like that. And I mean, Bette and Jodie were being a little bit intense for a restaurant, but it's a horrible way to live your life. It's like being in the closet again, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So thankfully, I mean, we got 2 really good, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, and gay marriage was finally illegal. So those were 2 massive wins between the original show ending and getting Generation Q. So obviously those are 2 extremely big deals, and rightfully so. Tina. The episode begins, and guess who rears their head? Jealous Bette. when Tina's having the date, and I thought it was hilarious when Tina was showing the date a picture of Angie, and she handed her like a physical picture because like every picture I have is in my phone now. And when Bette comes over and she's like, "Oh, you've met her," like no one would ask that now because you would just think, "Oh, she's seen her on social media or she's seen her on your phone or something." So when Bette arrives and she totally knew Tina was on a date, and she comes over and she's like flicking her hair and stuff. I was just like, "Oh, Bette, here we go." And as I said last week, I think that scene at the pool was Bette being like, "Oh, Tina still..." Well, I think really the beginning of that was the scene, where they're on the couch and Tina's like, "I still love you." That was like the inkling of something. But whenever they had that conversation about Jodie, and then later the pool, and when Tina's on the float and things, these are all just stoking the little Tina flame in Bette, and she is just, But I love season 5 Tina so much. She's so awesome. And when Jenny gets there and sits next to her, and you can her face, she's just like, "Oh my God, I have to deal with you." And she's even telling Shane, like, "Jenny's driving me crazy." And talking about her boss, I just love her whole energy in season 5 and think she's so great. And I think part of that is what Bette, is, well, she's always been with Tina, but you know what I mean? Like, she loves that Tina is now got her confidence back, and she's working on this movie, and she's really got everything going for it. I think she looks the best she's ever looked in season 5, and like all her business suits and stuff. Like, Tina's killing it in season 5. And I liked how she, the first couple of episodes, she's like going on all these different dates, and you can just see that, like, the jealousy building within. And when Alice, Jodie, Tom and Bette are like having lunch and talking afterwards, and the first thing that Bette says to Tina when Tina joins them, she's like, "Oh, what does she do?" And Jodie's like, "That's a terrible question." And fair enough, but it's definitely like one of the questions that I asked first, because I think that really, like, it can tell you if you're, going to be... I'm not saying like people need similar jobs or like similar levels or anything, but it can tell you a lot about a person, what they do. So I think some people think it's a terrible question, but I asked that question. And I mean, it's also like good to ask people about the like kids and things like that, because Tina's at that age where she wants something serious and long term, and she's not like looking to go and like hook up with a bunch of people. Like, she wants a partner and someone, like the whole elevator speech, like that's what she wants, and that's what she wants basically. So I don't know, I can really relate to that. Like, I'm not at the stage where like I want to go out to nightclubs and hit on 20 girls and do all the thing. Like, I want someone that can be a partner and like I can share my life with. I'm not interested in like going out every Friday and Saturday night and all that. So I really like relate to Tina going through this sort of thing. Some side notes for this episode. Bette was absolutely killing it too. I mean, Tina looked amazing and Bette also looked amazing. I loved when they went out to dinner and what Bette was wearing, and like, because she has like the best arms in showbiz. And the wedding was a kind of little fun anecdote. I thought they went a bit too over the top with the thing with Shane. I think it would have been more kind of believable if it was like just the mom was after her or just one of the sisters, but like having all these people, it just it doesn't really interest me in a huge way, and I think it was just a bit OTT. After Jodie mentions, "Do you really think Paige burned down Wax?" That's the last we ever hear about Wax until the interrogation tapes. Again, if you haven't checked out my video on the interrogation tapes, check them out. And we also have Bette uttering her famous line to Alice about Phyllis, saying it to Phyllis about Joyce. Some lesbians you have to break up with more than once Phyllis, because Joyce and Phyllis are breaking up and Phyllis cannot get rid of Joyce. And that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. Not too much. It was setting a lot of things up for the rest of the season, and everybody's kind of getting ready for the movie. They're starting like early pre-production stuff. We have the little bit of, you know, Bette and Tina spark going, setting Tasha's case up, and, you know, Shane soon has seen the error of her ways and for one episode she makes a celibacy pact. We have Jenny going down the path of the true Hollywood diva, and Helena, I never understood why the whole, I mean, the prison thing like should have been an episode or two, and then Helena like kind of disappears for a long time in season 5, which I don't know why they did that, because Rachel Shelley is like a main cast member, so that always, I would have preferred Helena to stick around, honestly. But as we know, next I will be back with season 5 episode 3, and then we only have that one video until we get to season 5 episode 4. So I'm excited for that, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, that if you enjoyed the video you give it a like, and if you comment down below and you've subscribed and liked, you'll be entered into a draw to win an L Word goodie bag on Christmas Day. And also don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias for even more L Word news. And I also am having a live tomorrow, Sunday the 20th of December, just like a little special live. It'll be at 5 p.m. UK time, noon Eastern, and 9 a.m. Pacific time. Probably be like an hour and a half, maybe 2. And any questions, thoughts, comments, bring them all over to the live, and we'll have a nice chat about season 2. And I'll also tell you guys all about my blind date last night. It went well, so I'll tell you all about it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye! If you want to know all the behind the scenes L Word info, click this video. And if you haven't heard the big casting news, Carrie is revealed, click this video.